Today, I'm sharing how to grow blueberries in containers in order to get an abundant blueberry harvest. You might be surprised by how easy it is to grow blueberries in a small space at home. Just one blueberry plant can produce hundreds of berries year after year. But, in my experience, there are 5 key things you need to know. Let's dive in. I'm planting a new blueberry plant today in my backyard in this wooden barrel. To promote drainage and to make sure it doesn't become waterlogged in this container, I'm drilling some extra holes in the bottom. Now let's talk about 5 key things that are important to know about growing blueberries. First, blueberries love acidic soil. While you can make your own soil using a combination of peat moss and pumice, today I'm using 2 pre-mixed bags of Gary's Best Acid Mix. I've used this specific soil in many other blueberry containers in my garden, and as you can see, my blueberry bushes are thriving. The soil you use is incredibly important. If you don't make sure your soil is acidic, your blueberry plants likely won't be happy. If you have in-depth questions about soil, let me know in the comments below. Next, the type or variety of blueberry plant you choose to grow in your area makes all the difference. Blueberry varieties have different minimum chill requirements, which means that they need at least a minimum of a certain number of hours where the weather is cooler, typically between 32 and 45 degrees Fahrenheit, in order to produce fruit. Here in Orange County, California, in Zone 10B, we have a moderate and warm climate that generally receives less chill hours compared to other growing zones. The blueberry types that have performed the best for me in my garden in terms of the amount of berries they produce are Biloxi, which only needs 150 or less chill hours, and Sunshine Blue, which only needs 200 or less chill hours. Blueberry plants are self-fertile and don't need a companion plant in order to bear fruit, but if you do get 2 or more plants, this will increase the chances of cross-pollination of the blueberry plant flowers and will likely lead to more berries and bigger berries. This season, I literally picked thousands of blueberries off of just these 2 plants. Now, the newest blueberry addition to my garden is the Jewel variety. This variety was recommended by a few people I know, and I'm excited to see how it grows. When planting a blueberry in a container, dig a hole right in the middle and make sure it's big enough for your blueberry container to fit comfortably in. This looks just about perfect. I want to mention here that blueberries typically love growing in full sunlight, so pick a spot in your yard, on your patio, or on your porch, or somewhere that gets at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sun. Sunlight helps both the plant and the berries grow. Now I'm gently removing my blueberry plant from its container, and I'm going to carefully place it in the hole I just created. I'll move some of the soil around to make sure it surrounds the plant and there aren't any gaping holes or gaps. At this point, if my soil mixture was more neutral or alkaline instead of acidic, I would mix some of this soil acidifier into my container. But since I specifically used acid mixed soil, this isn't needed. What I do want to add is some fertilizer, and the fertilizer I'm using today is Dr. Earth's Acid Lovers Blend. You want to make sure that the fertilizer you use is formulated specifically to complement and benefit things that prefer growing in acidic soil like blueberries. I'm going to be generous but not go overboard with my application of this, so I'll take some and sprinkle it into the soil before mixing it in a little bit. Now let's talk about water. Blueberry plants love water, and they've been known to be finicky if their soil gets too dry. If you don't have access to an irrigation system, what you can do is set an alarm on your phone a few times a week to remember to water with a hose, a watering can, or whatever works. Unfortunately, if your blueberry plant dries out, it can have a really hard time recovering, so consistent watering is important. I'm connecting this blueberry container to my existing irrigation line so I can set it up to automatically water for me. Finally, let's talk about blueberry plant maintenance. To maintain your blueberry plants, I recommend focusing on 3 things: mulch, water, and fertilizer. For mulch, as soon as I finish planting a blueberry bush, I like to add a layer of wood chips on top of the soil. This helps keep the soil moist and prevents the plant from drying out too much in between waterings. I like these because they do a good job of covering the soil thoroughly and preventing weeds from popping up in my blueberry container. In terms of watering, as I mentioned, water blueberries several times a week, especially when the plants are young. Of course, if it rains or it's really cold, you'll need to water much less than during the hot summer months. And finally, acidic fertilizer can be useful to help your blueberry plants grow and thrive. I like to use this fertilizer I showed earlier in the video. Follow the package directions and add a little fertilizer every now and then when recommended. A few months after planting, here is my beautiful jewel blueberry bush. You can see how big it is, and I'm very happily surprised by how large the berries are. This branch I'm holding is being weighed down by so many blueberries. Let me show you a few of the other clusters that are growing and looking amazing so far. I'm going to harvest a bunch of these and make lots of delicious recipes. Maybe some blueberry muffins, fresh jam, smoothies, and of course I'll also be eating lots of these fresh and sharing them with family and neighbors. Just so you can get a sense of how big these berries are, here are a couple blueberries up close, and you can see the size of them compared to my thumbnail. Now it's time for my favorite thing about growing food, and that is harvesting it to eat and enjoy. Let's see how many blueberries I can get from my first harvest off of this plant. My husband stopped by to help me pick these, and there were quite a few sneaky ones hiding in this plant. Here is my first jewel blueberry harvest this season. I've already eaten a few of these, and they taste fantastic. The flavor is so much more fresh and vibrant than anything you can buy in the store. I know a few people who would love to try these, so I packed up some blueberries along with jam I just made to deliver here shortly. Fresh fruit seems to always be a hit, and I'm always happy to share. For more videos on how to grow food and use your harvest to make easy and delicious recipes, I invite you to subscribe and check out this playlist I've curated for you on the screen here. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video.